Hello, everyone. Welcome to Breakout Room number 2. My name is Jane, and I'm pleased to be your host. In this breakout session, our speakers will be discussing how businesses can enable and upskill workforces without leaving anyone behind. I'm happy to hand proceedings over to you at this point, Arno. Perhaps you can begin by sharing some remarks to set the context for discussions.
Thanks, Jane. Thanks a lot. Thanks to the panelists and the attendees who join us in this breakout room. I actually think this topic, training and upskilling, is critical to Industry 4.0, probably the number one topic. And there is usually kind of a misconception that Industry 4.0 digitalization will mean, less reliant on labor force, less, having less people relying on the machine or algorithm. It's quite the opposite. I believe where we need to upskill, uptrain the labor to deploy first this Industry 4.0, but also to design this program, to follow, to analyze the data, to run the machines. So actually the individual is at the core of the Industry 4.0. I think for this discussion, the intent is to share the speakers, I think, view on the state of, again, the Vietnam labor force. How is Vietnam different maybe from other countries, either Asia or developing countries? But also, I think, sharing your experience of how upscaling people in Vietnam works. Is it easy? What do they like? How do they react? So having really a pragmatic view. I would start with you, Mr. Viet. I believe you have a long experience of the country and also abroad. So I would ask now, what is your sense of the current state of the Vietnam labor force? How do they accept shift to digital technologies and Industry 4.0?
Thank you, Arnold, for the questions. I think that labor force is a backbone of any economy and country, and Vietnam is no exception to that. And particularly now, with all this trade war between China and US, for example, and recently signed free trade economy between Vietnam and Europe, that will generate the opportunity for Vietnam for needed labor. The country's working age population of 54 million population, so it's pretty strong and young population at the moment. But I see that the problem lies at the moment is the shortage of the talent. So that's why what you just mentioned, like that's a huge urge in Vietnam, that people need to be upskilled and reskilled.
Yeah, fully agree with this. And I think also the key also to know what do they should be upskilled and trained for. What do we expect them to do in this new wave of Industry 4.0? And here I think the question is quite relevant for you, Prem. If you could share with us in this new Industry 4.0 world, what is expected to the workers of the past? What should he be doing in the future? And how do we better integrate data, machine, and people?
Yeah, sure, Arnold. So let me just take you a little bit back into some background of the Industry 4.0 approach and compared to the other systems in place what we have earlier. So I consider that we are in a new manufacturing paradigm, and why I call it so, because the challenges associated with the manufacturing is constantly evolving, and current situation has necessitated a different approach to the overall manufacturing system what we employ. We have a shorter product to market time, and we have a shorter product life, and the product complexity is also increased immensely. And along with that, we also have a very shorter ROI period. And combined with all these things, we also need to produce different products in a very flexible manner. So we need to be very agile. That is already have complicated the manufacturing arena. Along with that, if you look at the situation outside now, the pandemic has actually created another dimension and it created another challenge to the manufacturing. We are required to produce parts or run the manufacturing operation without the physical presence of the people. So, these challenges exacerbate the situation once again. So if you look at the history of the industry revolution, starting from the 18th century, we have automated some of the process, or we've taken away some of the manual work from the people by employing steam engine, those kind of things. It took about another 100 years or so to come to the next level of industrial revolution, which actually seen the usage of electricity and electrically driven machines to produce parts and employ manufacturing activities. Along with that, we also seen some level of communication technology such as telephone and telegraph also actually provided added impetus to the industrial revolution which is going on. And it took yet another close to 100 years for us to come to the stage where we really created a concept of mass production, where we employ a lot of automated machines, and it was prominent in the automobile industry. And that things has actually gone into a different area of the other industry too. So along with that, as you can see, the people is an important part of this manufacturing process. All of the time, from manual operation to semi-automated to the automated process, we have transformed. So people ability to adapt to the new technology has always been important. So it's currently, we are moving towards Industry 4.0, where we are again harnessing the technology into yet another level. The tools available for us to automate or increase the efficiency and the output of the machine is a lot different than what we had in the industry revolution or in the third or second industry automation area. So now with the new tools, we must be able to do better things, and we are able to even have a closer look at our manufacturing operations, analyze data, and make decisions on a timely manner. And so that allows us to do things in a different way. So I think, internet has actually provided unparalleled connectivity and created big waves in the industry, such as media, entertainment, and service. And they were quick in kind of, harnessing these technologies to their advantage. So manufacturing is coming to that, and Industry 4.0 actually provides an opportunity to enhance our operations through the new technologies available to us. So there are multiple things are available for us, and we can actually use these enabling technologies to have a closer look at our own manufacturing operations, look at the data associated with that, analyze the data, and make decisions on a timely manner.
Thanks, Prem. I think it's very, very interesting. It's quite a jump we are doing with this Industry 4.0. I would say especially even more in Vietnam. I think when these disruptions are quite high. Also, the Vietnamese people are also, entering a new stage of the lifestyle of many other factors. So it's quite a jump. And the question is how do you make this happen? How do you make this change happen? I believe Upskilling, you have been developing similar programs with Malaysia. If we look forward, maybe 5 to 10 years ahead of Vietnam, it'd be great if you can share with us what are the key, let's say, best practices or recipe to make this jump into Industry 4.0 work for everyone.
Thank you, Arnold, for the sharing. Okay, let me share with you on the World Economic Forum, the report which has suggested that post-pandemic recovery provides the opportunity for companies to build back better by two things. One, to promote remote working via increasing digitization and automation. And the second one is to reskill, upskill, reskilling and upskilling of retrenched, unemployed, and also current workforce. And not forgetting also our future talent pipeline to support the job of tomorrow. So, but you look at the current situation, upskilling in the existing workforce, I believe not only in Malaysia, but in Vietnam or in Singapore as well, it is still on the last item of any organization in their priority list. So upskilling is not a priority to organization at the moment. Companies are looking at survival, are looking at improving cash flow and recovery of businesses. So our challenge here is to bring this awareness to business owners on the opportunity to build back better, all right, which is through training, through upskilling, reskilling, and cross-skilling of their current workforce. We started in 1992 to address issue of shortage of skilled workers to serve the manufacturing company, especially the MNCs. Over the years, we also developed new content to align to the government economic plans and initiative, and also to align to the needs of the emerging industry. So started from manufacturing to industrial automation to ICT, and today we talk about to smart manufacturing, and this year we talk about programs on machine learning and AI. So we always need to look ahead with the industry, so that we are always ready to address the current and the future talent needs from the industry. So today what we see is the small medium enterprises that are highly labor intensive are badly affected due to the pandemic, right? So it is proven that companies that has invested in the adoption of high tech and automation, they have been very resilient and flexible when it comes in the face of a crisis. But the question is, how do we help the other company who are badly affected because they did not spend or invest in automation or technology to improve their manufacturing processes? So how do we help this SME to transform from current situation and to embark into the fourth industrial revolution? So what are the gaps? So for us, we see there are 3 gaps. I'm speaking from the Malaysian point of view, but during our pre-discussion with the panelists just now, we believe that in other countries, these are also the similar gap faced by a lot of the industry. So the first one is, are there enough awareness of the technology? Are there enough awareness of the fourth industrial revolution done by the government? Miss Queen just now, she mentioned about the government need to provide awareness on the fourth industrial revolution policy. I agree with her. And in Malaysia in 2019, if you follow our progress, our Ministry of the International Trade and Industry had actually done a great job in promoting the industry forward national policy. So they share about the 9 technology pillars. And what happened is when they share about the pillars, they talk about what each of these technology can help improve your performance, can help you develop new business model, and etc. But for SME, when they listen to all these pillars, these technology pillars, they get frightened because of the big words which relates to big investment. So for them is this big technology will tie back to a big investment that I have to spend. Then second one is whether I will need to, whether my people is able to support this industry. Okay, so the second gap is we talk about the management buy-in. Yes, there is enough awareness. The bosses knows about the benefits of embarking into the fourth industrial revolution, but does the management see the urgency to transform or not? What happens if there's no management buy-in? What can happen? So in our case, we deal a lot with SMEs. We talk to the production managers, the younger workers of younger managers. They are very keen to go into digitalization. So they have planned to transform the factory. They know what to do, but the moment they send in a proposal to the management and tell the management that you need to invest in certain amount, immediately they get rejected. So a lot of effort wasted in understanding, in doing all this preparation work, and at the end of the day, they do not have the management buy-in to transform, right? So the second one is we must get the management buy-in. And the third one is, once there's a management buy-in, the third very, very famous question is, where do I start? How do I start? Even just now, Mr. Prem also mentioned, where do we start? We know that we need to do this, but where do we start? So we often get requests from SME companies asking us, is there any SME companies that has embarked into Industry 4.0 journey that we can visit and we can benchmark? What do a smart factory really looks like? How do we apply the 7 technological pillars? So, but honestly, I can tell you that are not many even in Malaysia. We are not 10 years ahead of Vietnam. We are similar, right? There are not many factories in Malaysia that are already in this journey. There are many starting, but there are not many currently that is able to be a benchmark for the SME to visit. So in 2018, what we do is with the state government's support, we set up a lab called the Malaysian Smart Factory. All right, in this lab is the objective is to make available a space for the industry and the academia and students or workforce to come and visualize technology at work. What is AR/VR? Now, how do you apply AR/VR in manufacturing? How do you apply machine learning and etc.? So that now they come here, they are able to visualize the application of Industry 4.0 technologies in our demo factory line. Okay, so our lab here, we also offer training programs to prepare our Malaysian workforce to be Industry 4.0 ready. All right. So in conclusion, the government plays an important role to encourage industries to embark into Industry 4.0 journey. And we need to set up a technology center for the industry to visualize technology, to understand how this technology can help them improve in their process, or which technology should they adopt first. And also that especially on helping SME to focus on capabilities building so that they are able to compete regionally and globally for high value jobs. So capability building is about upskilling, which is integrating knowledge, skills, and of course, adapting to meet the future needs or sudden disruption like COVID-19. Yeah.
Thanks, Wu-Ling. Very interesting. I think what I take away from your comment is definitely awareness both of people and management are critical, and also knowing where to start, prioritizing, going use case by use case, improvement by improvement. I think the big bang approach with people is usually very difficult. Thanks for this. Please, I mean, even if Malaysia is not 10 years ahead, I think it gives us quite a good learnings, I think, for Vietnam to under this wave. And now we get to you, Van. Would be happy to have your view on, in Vietnam, what are the initiatives that are being deployed in relation with the Chamber of Commerce, but also the industries and the government, and where do you think we are in this upskilling and training of people, and where do you see the new priorities emerging from Industry 4.0 deployments?
Thank you, Arnaud. Yeah, I think I should start with our project in dual vocation training. I think we work with many companies here in Vietnam and also in different sectors. And that's why we know that they have very high demand for qualified workers. And the workers should be able to handle digitalization, new technologies, and modern processes in the new industry. And the companies are facing big challenges to find those qualified workers. And the main reason is that most of the companies hire university graduates who have very limited practical experiences during their study. So the only practical work which they know is the end of the study, where they have a short internship, which is just a few months or sometimes just 1 month. And due to the high confidentiality regulations of the company, the students don't get information from processing and from customers, for example. That's why they don't have the overview about the business of the company and don't have the overview about production. And what is also a lack is that the students don't have good soft skills. They don't learn project management, don't learn to apply teamwork, or don't learn presentation techniques during the study. And they have very limited English skills. And that's why the companies who hire the graduates from universities usually have to retrain them. And it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of money as well to retrain. So that's why we, as the Delegate of German Industry and Commerce in Vietnam, have implemented in the 2013, together with Bosch and Lima 2 Vocational College, a training program in industrial mechanics. And since then, we have already launched 9 German dual vocational training occupations with now 400 apprentices and already 300 graduates in training programs. And we are not only working in the field of production or serve the production needs of the company like Bosch and Windfast to train industrial mechanics and mechatronics apprentices. We also work with other companies like Mercedes to train the after sales and automotive mechatronics technicians to serve after sales and maintenance of cars. So we are also active in the hospitality and in construction and logistic fields. So what is the special thing about the German dual vocation training? The name already said, it's a combined training between theoretical and practical training. The training at the company is 50%, minimum 50% of the time of the students. And in the company, the students got taught all the practical knowledge. They learn in the daily work what to practice. And we have a long-term training programs of 2 and 3 years. And those training programs are based on German curriculum. And through our worldwide network of the Association of German Chambers of Commerce and Industry worldwide, we certified those training programs according to German standards, and all German chambers are working according to this criteria for the certification. And that's why the companies who are working with us know exactly that behind this dual vocation training, there's a certain high level of training, German training. So talking about the challenges of the companies to find qualified staff, with our training program, the companies are actively involved in the development of the training programs. They can build together with us demand-driven and practical-focused training, which fulfill their demand of production or the company demands, and also our criteria. And they are actively in the recruitment of the future staff. And the most important thing is they don't have to retrain their graduates. And we're not only supporting German companies in this field to implement German dual vocational training, we are also open to other international and Vietnamese companies. The best example which I can show is the dual vocational training in freight forwarding and logistic agents. Here we have 8 companies joining one training program with one unified training content and timeline. And besides the German companies like Schenker, Renault, Lockwin and Hartmut, we also have French companies joining like Bolloré. We have Austrian companies joining and Vietnamese companies joining. And for the training at the university, we have the Ho Chi Minh City University of Transport, which teach their students the theoretical content of the training. So in the training, the students learn on-site in the company the content which is needed later for this job. And they can apply their theoretical knowledge already in the daily work. So they learn really with new tools, modern tools and logistic programs. They learn in different departments of the company, different parts of the company, and have an overview about the whole process of logistics. So they have to solve real problems, real cases, and have a deal with real customers, which is also exciting. And the most important thing is they use English in their daily work, which is necessary for the work later in the company. And at the end, the students also get a double certification, one bachelor degree from the Ho Chi Minh University of Transport for the bachelor logistic study. And from our side, they will get a dual vocational training certificate for passing the theoretical and practical exam, which are according to the German standards that I mentioned before. Yeah.
Great. I believe having mixing the practicality, I think, also of the German education model with the Vietnamese model, which is more conceptual. I think it's a great add, very complementary. To add on this, what would you say are the 1-2 key training or the most successful training that you have seen, around the last 12-18 months, where the companies are really asking for this type of trainings? What are the priorities?
I mean, we started with the first training program with Bosch in 2013. It was actually the best program that we have. It's still existing. It's going on every year. The company is taking in every year new apprentices. We developed another training program in mechatronics with Bosch in 2019. So we're not only working with companies to serve their production needs of the company. We also extend to other demand fields, like logistics is very important now for the supply chain. it's also important for the hospitality industry in Vietnam to have qualified workers who work and can work according to German or international standards, can serve the customers according to international standards. Yeah, I mean, we are expanding, we are working in construction field. So it's quite complex, it's quite open to other businesses. And I think the Vietnamese market needs this kind of practical driven training. And we as a chamber serve this need, and we coordinate with the companies to develop new ones. So we're quite open to other businesses as well.
Great, great. Yeah, very, very interesting to see like how fast also it's opening to other fields. And I will get to you, Mr. Viet, actually from the business side, from Bosch side, being a major company with this topic of upskilling should be a priority. How do you actually set up a strategy to upskill, uptrain in Vietnam? Is it focusing on key program? Is it more broader approach where you have multiple ways to train or upskill people? Really, how do you do, and what for you works the best?
Thank you, Arnold. I think within Bosch we have this long life journey. So every employee associate has the right to upgrade themselves and to be trained. I think if I talk about a little bit like in Vietnam in general, that I see at the moment the problem lies that the gap between the high skilled labor compared to other nations is too big. And what we have been trying to do in the past is to address this point through educations. So we are trying to work with different kind of vocational and technical colleges that together with, for example, Miss Band organization AHK. So we're supporting them to transfer the know-how, the German technology to them. So later on, that in one day the student graduate from this school, that they're more familiar with the so-called latest technology. So the past 3 years, my main is just to really trying to connect with university, technical vocational school and college in Vietnam. And at the same time, we're hoping that the government would also support this initiative.
Okay, thanks. Very, very clear. Actually, going forward, how do you see the adoption of Industry 4.0 and the upskilling? Do you think it's in a good way, or do you expect remaining core challenges based on the fact that just the base of talent is not here, and you have mainly young people that would take 3-4 years to train? Or is there with these new ways of training possibility to bridge this gap faster?
I think it's like catch-22 questions. At the moment, organizations are afraid of big changes, like Prem and Lynn mentioned earlier. It might be costly, and they're not aware what would be the result would be end up. So this 4.0 or upskill, it's still in vague discussions. So that it's not helping at the moment. So I agree with Prem, like we should start with little thing first. At the moment, also we go out and we're trying to tell our partners, our customer, like forget about 4.0 first. Like how can you improve your simple processes, standards first? Then we start from there. But I think we should start from little first.
Yeah, exactly. And I think someone mentioned about lean also before. I think we always say, if your organization process is not lean, I mean, there's little point, applying Industry 4.0 to it. Yeah, very, very clear. From a technology side, I think, Prem, where would you say, in a given industry, where would you say, it's good to start actually? I think the people side we have covered, but from, a use case or technology point, what would you recommend for a country like Vietnam?
Okay. Yeah, so I actually agree with what we had just said. Irrespective of the size of the industry, whether it's a small or a big, there is always a chance for you to adapt some level of Industry 4.0 technologies into your manufacturing area. So I can give you some examples like what we do here. Say you have a manufacturing line, which may be a semi-automated, and you want to improve certain things in that that line. Probably that that machine have a certain item is assembled within that machine. A couple of components are assembled. So having some kind of support to do a troubleshooting on the machine is an important thing because people always find it difficult to do a troubleshooting. So what we do in a very simple level, we can actually install cameras in the machine, and which is a kind of an IoT device that allows you to record certain event based on an alarm of a machine. And the machine actually provide an alarm associated video, and it is not recording an event after the alarm. It actually recording an event leading to the alarm. So by doing so, that actually acts as a very important tool for a troubleshooting technician to look at the machine and to look at the video to find that what actually caused that alarm. So that's one example. So likewise, say you have another line in which there is no new technologies are available there. It is impossible for us to ask the companies to throw away all the existing machine and buy a new machine to create an Industry 4.0 smart manufacturing setup. So we often find that providing a digital footprint to an equipment which already do not have a digital footprint is important. So there are devices and technologies available now which allows you to collect information from a simple motor that does not have any digital communication interface with any of the other devices. But we can actually set up an instrument package which allows you to collect, say, for example, current, vibration, and temperature of that instrument, and which does not have any way to communicate to the outside world now because it's an old motor, it doesn't have any of these things. But this interface allows you to collect information, and that information can be analyzed. Even we can personalize that data coming from the motor to say that what is a normal pattern or normal consumption of this motor. So these are simple things which can be adapted to any kind of environment. It doesn't have to be a very automated environment. It can actually put that into practice in any kind of context. And we also do now, all of the talk outside is now focusing on sustainability and green manufacturing. Often we do not know where we are wrong, and we do not have a mechanism in place to identify which machine consumes the most electricity, which machine consumes the most amount of water or air consumption. There are simple devices that's available today. You can actually fix that one, and that actually allows you to monitor the consumption of various energies in your machine, and that actually provide valuable information to you to design and ways to reprogram your machines or optimize certain things to reduce the consumption. So which is also possible. Okay, so look at other aspects of it, inspection. Throughout the world, if you look at the manufacturing line, most repeatedly, you see that a lot of people are employed to a very mundane things of inspecting something. And why it was not possible for a machine to do it earlier, because we did not have enough capability to do a vision inspection, which a person can do in a very simple way. So the current technologies are actually utilizing the machine learning and some level of artificial intelligence, which allow you to categorize and look at the defects and then able to do a simple inspection. So these are some of the things without even changing your entire manufacturing line. You can selectively enhance its capabilities by employing technologies that actually utilize some of the things which I talk about, that Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and big data. So these are some practical things which can be employed in any country. It can be anywhere. It can be any remote part of the world. You can actually implement these technologies without investing something what just as Sockling say, a big amount of money. People care about that. You don't have to do that one. So it is practically possible.
Thanks, Prem. Very interesting. So I'm quite a technology fan. So when I fully align, probably starting like this, seeing how the company is able to absorb this incremental technology changes is a good way to start. I see the time is almost out. I think I had one last question, similar to the previous discussion, but it's quite the topic at the moment is how do we continue this training, upscaling, practices despite COVID-19, and we say we need to have practical training, but of course when we are not in front of the machine is a bit different. So I think I would have this last question for you, Sukling. If you have few insights, how do we tackle the COVID-19 impact, and how do we keep on the upskilling and training practices ongoing?
Yeah, if you look at in Malaysia, we have many lockdowns, and since last year until today, our training centers are practically open less than 30% of the time. So imagine 70% of the time the center is supposed to be closed. Face-to-face training is not allowed until even today. But how do we sustain our business? As far as early as last year, April, we were locked down in March. In April itself, we are already starting our virtual training session. So at that time, virtual training is still something very new to our trainers. But what we think is, we can only do theory programs because we need practical session is not possible, right? At that point of time, we believe that practical session is not possible simply because we need our participants to do hands-on activity. But then later, today, if you see how we run our programs, most of our practical session programs are run via our remote online training lab. So we have started with 12 we call it the workspace, a place where we place our training kits where the participants can dial in and do their practical session. We started with 12, and today we have 42 workplaces. So what we do is we combine online training plus and practical session through our remote online training lab, so that participants are able to practice. They don't have to be in front of the training kits. Now they can dial into our workplaces. We call it the remote online training lab to do practical training. And of course, it's not something that, like drilling and all those, but it is something, courses that uses software, like PLC programming, like how to do data generation, data analytics. All these are done now through our virtual training platform, right? So with that, I think this is the way forward. In the education side, if you think that face-to-face is not allowed and you're going to stand and wait, then you're going to lose a lot of opportunity for reskilling and upskilling. Yeah.
Thanks, Sukling, and I'm glad to hear that it works actually, and we'll find ways to keep on improving. Okay, so I think it closes our session. I think it's great to have this, to finish with this training and talent discussion, and I'm glad to see there's multiple actions that are in place. I think both from the people onboarding and management onboarding, technology side, and also the ecosystem with the public and private support are in place in Vietnam. Thanks again to all participants and panelists for today's discussion.
Thanks Arno and panelists. I'm sure our audiences have learned a lot from your discussion, and that was very, very helpful. So ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of Voice of the Market, Vietnam Industry 4.0 Forum. So thank you for your support, and we hope you found today's forum insightful and useful.